Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope everybody's doing well. So, for those of you who have not been on my channel before, welcome. My name is Mike. I am an aspiring professional artist, and on my channel, I like to do different work on the fundamentals of art. So today, we're actually doing something a bit different. Instead of doing gesture drawing, we're doing figure drawing, which is a little different. So I'm going to start with just one, and I'll see how long it's taken me. I'm going to try to stay within 30 minutes today. And then after that, we'll see if I do the one really quickly. Then maybe I'll do the other one. I already kind of have it up. But yeah, the difference between gesture drawing and figure drawing is you want both to be accurate, but figure drawing is more about replicating exactly what you're seeing in the figure. So I am going to be working towards that the best that I can, and start to really improve upon my observation skills. So, hey, Pumpkin Pie, I hope that you're doing well. Thank you for joining today. Thank you for joining. But yeah, and as always, any questions or concerns that you might have at any point in time, just put it in the chat, and I'll get to it as quickly as I can. I'm pretty quick with it. But yeah, let's get started. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. I haven't done this in a really long time. I do want to make sure. Okay, just wanted to make sure that the music was on a loop and we were good to go. All right. So I'm still going to be using the same building blocks as I was before. We're going to be doing a lot of the same things as well. Yeah, I could do it like that. The big difference is going to be I'm striving to get it as accurate as I possibly can. Oh, that's nice. Do you have names for them yet? I'd be excited too. That's awesome. Awesome. All right. So I'm still going to use, I don't know if this is actually the correct course of action for this, but I probably need to go back and review it. Val and Donna, I like that. Those are nice names. I probably need to take some time at some point to go back and review the figure drawing courses, because it's been a really long time since I've done just straight up figure drawing. But as you can see, the big difference is the speed at which I'm going. I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting things correct here as far as where they are in comparison to one another. And at some point, like what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do the entirety of it. And then I will check by putting what I've drawn over top of the reference and seeing where my like observation has kind of failed me a little bit. And then I'll make an immediate correction, and keep rinse and repeating that until I've gotten exactly where I want it to be. And it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but you do want to get as close as possible, because that is kind of the intention behind doing these kinds of studies. All right, so one thing I'm looking at right now is this is here and this hip is out further. So that's pretty interesting, actually. I don't know if I ever really noticed that when I was doing the gestures. So I think that what that really means is that I'm going to have to bring the shoulder in just slightly. And then I'll place the hip around here. this hip is well, so the point is here and this one's here. So this is well outside. Also, I'm noticing too, from just looking at where things are, my head needs to be pulled back a little bit to probably here. All right. But I'm looking now at, so we have, if I'm gonna put this here, so we have this, like, I guess I could draw in a darker color so that you can see it, but we have this triangle right now, and yeah, as you can see, like, the middle of the head is one, not where it needs to be, but yeah, no gestures today. It's time to move on from doing just gestures on stream. I'm not gonna improve as much as I would like if I just keep in my comfort zone. So yeah, I'm just like trying to, as I'm drawing right now, I'm trying to look at the relationship between body parts and other body parts in the reference and see if I'm coming close to that within my work, right? All right, so I think that's a bit more accurate. I still think that the head is actually not quite where it needs to be, but we'll wait until we get to, like, take it and put it over the top and see where things really are. But so far, I think we're okay. All right, so we get this hip coming way over here, so I can get that in. And of course, like I said in the very beginning, for those of you who trickle in, if you have questions or concerns or even comments on what I'm doing, please feel free to make the comment. The other thing I don't want to do is I don't want to start like zooming in and out too much. And the reason for that is because, one, I'm not even doing any details, so it wouldn't make any sense. But two, don't want to lose, like, if anything, I would zoom out, but I don't want to lose, like, the distance that I have right now and start to not be able to see. I don't know, maybe. But I want to be able to see the reference as best as possible as I go through this process, so. Okay. We get the knee here. Then we're gonna get this knee here. All right. You might have heard my wife sneeze, I'm not sure. All right. So I'm still trying to make sure I look really, I'm trying to make sure I'm really looking at relationships between things. One thing I'm noticing is that the legs, the separation between like here and here is much shorter than the separation from here to here. So now what I need to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at relationships between body parts again and see if this leg needs to be moved in or if this leg needs to be moved in. I have a feeling it's this one. So let's look at the ankle is here, and this is, if I look up, this is inside the armpit area, and yep, my ankle is here, and if I look up, it's just hitting where the shoulder is. So now I can take this. I need to actually erase this first, but I can take this and rotate it in quite a bit, actually. It's probably right here. So now if I look at that ratio again, so this is inside where the armpit is, and this one is about where the armpit is, so this is much better. Is it perfect? I'm not sure, but it is much better. Alright, so then we get the foot, and now I can go ahead and start to get some of the details in of the leg. And I just want to look here, so this ankle looks to me like it is outside. Yep, that looks good. I'll probably like do things like add a face and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to make this as finished as I can in like a reasonable amount of time. I'm not gonna worry about like going into the nitty-gritty of the entirety of doing like a character design today. At some point soon, I would like to do that. Like, it would be great if I could do a stream, and each stream I create a character. Because then it'll help me with my portfolio and stuff, but I have to get back into the swing of making characters a little bit more consistently in my free time before I'm comfortable with doing that. Alright. Maybe you should do something you haven't done before and something out. Yeah, well, I mean, this is something different than what I typically do from streams. I do need to make sure I am doing things outside of streams more. I've been super busy the past couple of weeks, so it's been a little bit hard to get myself on a bit of a schedule, but I'm hoping I can change that soon. So we'll see. All right. All right, so we're almost done with this one. Monday mornings are okay, typically. So tomorrow I'm gonna try to just get up and after I do my workout, just sit and get some work done. Tuesday mornings sometimes. A lot of the times I'm free in the mornings. Let me think. Thursday, the whole day is booked for me. Friday's okay. Mr. Krabs returns. How's it going, buddy? I appreciate you joining. We've had some people come in and out. Just a lot of people don't either have the time or are like driving or whatever, and they don't like talk in the chat, which is fine. I can understand that. I've joined plenty of streams where I don't talk in the chat. Just drawing sounds good to me. I think I need that elbow to be just a bit higher. And then we'll get this. So this wrist is hitting about here. I'm very interested to see how well I did here. I have a feeling it's going to be a bit off, but I'm actually pretty happy with this so far. I think I've done a decent job at least. So here. All right. And again, I'm looking at everything I can right now. I'm kind of looking at this negative space right here and trying to see like if I can replicate that. So let's go here. This hand right about here. Right. And I think that the last thing that I'll do is before we all right. I'm just looking at the relationship with the feet. I think what is it? Something's a bit off. I just think that the toes that I've created over here are a bit too long. All right. So now I will zoom out and I'm going to erase away all of this stuff and we're going to kind of see how well we did. And make corrections. So I'm just going to hold shift and plop it right over the top. All right. So I'm going to line up the heads. Okay. So, yeah, I did see that as I was starting to put things over. Let me do this. I'll put the opacity down a little bit. So, yeah, not too bad. The big one that I'm actually not okay with is the shoulders. So, as you can see, my shoulders are not as diagonal as they should be. That's the big one. And then still like, yeah, just some minor issues really. I mean, this is definitely not too bad for a first attempt. So we'll scoot this over. And we'll make some corrections here. So this shoulder needs to be dropped down a little bit here. I noticed that actually as I was drawing because I was thinking that this felt too long. Because if you look at this in comparison to this, it is much longer, and that's because the shoulder isn't dropped down enough. So I was right in thinking that, but I didn't correct it the way that I needed to. So we'll do that. It isn't there. I did pretty well. I would agree. So I need to do that. And then the other big one is just that the legs, and I can kind of grab this. I'll do that. The legs needed to be positioned more inside. So that this lines up with her armpit. I think that is pretty good. And then the last thing is just rounding out that shoulder a little bit. All right, and I think with that, we could get a slight difference in the arms and hands here. And this one can just rotate out a little bit. All right. So I think that probably solves quite a bit of the problems. So now we'll check again. Let's go here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want to make sure, like, oh yeah, it's much better. Look at that. Yep. That is acceptable. I do want to just make sure that I'm getting the majority of it correct. So this is like probably like 85 to 90% correct. I think that's fine. I'm not, like I said, I'm not searching for perfection. I could move the legs in a bit more, which I think I will do just because that's a big part of this character's gesture. But like I said, other than that, I think it's pretty darn good. So take this and move it in slightly more. And now I think if I were to take this one last time, switch it over again, line up the head. Yep, perfect. I'm perfectly fine with that. All right, so that is one figure drawing done. I want to check how long we've been on stream just to see if I want to do one more, if I want to stop for today. 23 minutes. We can do one more. Yeah, let's do one more. All right, so this one's a bit more challenging. So yeah, a little bit more of a challenge, but I do think that we can make it work. All right, take a sip of water. The great part about doing this kind of exercise is that you see what things you aren't looking at correctly, like observing correctly, and you're able to make corrections on that. So I highly recommend doing these kinds of things. All right, so we'll start with the head. And things like, if you struggle with things like character consistency as well with your characters, this is a way to help you with that, right? Because yes, you're not memorizing how to do it 100%. What this really is doing is this is making you observe a different way. in a little bit more efficient and better way. And if you're not observing things right, like for instance, if you have a hard time, like when you're drawing, looking at like your own character and then trying to reproduce that character in the same view and everything, and you're not able to do that, that's not good, right? Like you have to be able to, it doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but if you can't get within like 90-95%, it's going to look like a different character. And that's not great for manga artists, comic artists, character artists. You want to be able to replicate characters. You want to be able to replicate other people's styles, which is something that we'll end up doing on this channel. And if you can't, then you don't have a place in the industry, because you get hired and then you get plopped into somebody else's style, and now you have to curate your own style around their style. And if you can't do that, they'll find somebody that can. So being able to observe, which is what this is doing, it's helping your observation skills. Being able to observe better will allow you to expand your horizon as an artist, and be able to replicate other styles, and also improve your own style too. I don't know how it would be different. Like, look straight on reference on paper. It's hard to explain, but like, have you ever seen like people's fan art where they're trying to replicate styles and it's not quite right? Like, that's what I kind of mean, is that you can like look and tell that it's not 100% correct. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and do this. Oh, on paper? Well, I will say this, like, I think it's gonna be hard for a traditional artist to get like a concept art job because of that. Like, you're just more efficient via digital art, and that's like, from what I understand, because I'm not in the industry, that is the industry standard. So, because they're all about speed, like, they don't care how you achieve it, they just need you to get it out, right? So, if you're not doing it correctly, or you're not getting it out fast enough, then you're gonna get replaced. So, yeah, like, I don't think people are really doing this kind of work too frequently on paper anymore. You can't share the files. Something happens to it, it's gone. Like, maybe you start on paper if that's what you prefer, and then you have to move to digital at some point. I think that could be a possibility, but again, I think at this point, industry standard makes it pretty rare for people to have pencil. Well, what you can do is you can use a light box, right? Like, you would draw, and then you could take you have your reference on one sheet of paper and you're drawing on another, and you have a light box, and you take yours and put it over top, and then you can put it back and make the corrections. That's literally it's the same exact thing that I'm currently doing, basically, just digitally. Alright, so again, I'm trying to look at where things are situated in between one another. Yeah, I mean, that's what this is, basically. It's like tracing, but not quite. And there's nothing wrong with that. You have to learn somehow, and tracing is a great way to like learn how other people are drawing specific things. Like, when you're first learning somebody's style, like another style, like, you should trace. Like, there's not really another, like, I mean, you could do it this way too, but what you should do is you trace, and then after you trace, you like kind of keep it there as like a reference, and then you draw like what you see in the reference off to the side, and then you can compare your drawing to the reference and also to the tracing that you made too. That's a very good way of like learning. Yeah, it is good practice. You just can't, like, what you don't want is you don't want to like trace and then act like that's your art, because it's not. It's somebody else's art. That's where people get in trouble. Tracing's fine if you're using it as a learning opportunity. Alright. So, I don't know if you're noticing, I'm going a little bit faster and also checking a little bit less. I'm trying to see if I can just... I'm trying to observe more efficiently. So we'll see how it ends up coming out. Alright, so one thing I am going to look at is... I appreciate that. One thing I want to look at now is just the legs, and where specific parts are in comparison, in particular to the head. So this, if I were to draw like a straight line from even the innermost part of that, that's there. Look where mine is. Okay. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was, actually. And then this knee straight up, it's gonna hit the side of the head. So that one's looking good too. That's a good exercise, Mr. Krabs. But what I want to do with my art, I have to be able to create it in somebody else's style. But what you're doing is, what you're talking about, that's a lot of fun to do. It really is. It's phenomenal to do, and I think it's a great exercise. It's just for what I would like to be able to do, I have to be able to replicate other styles. All right, so this ankle is both inside the knee and outside of the head. I don't know if that's accurate. Oh, it is. Okay. Oh, it's outside the head by quite a bit. I probably need to pull that leg in more, actually. So we'll do that. So I will pull this in, and I think it needs to be pulled in at a sharper angle, because this is hitting about halfway. One thing I'm noticing is this ankle isn't far enough down. The foot's kind of hitting about here, I believe. So I need to pull this down just a bit more. And then the foot is going to be here, and then here, and then we get there. All right. So the ankle itself is hitting about here. So we can do that. And then we're going to get this in. That's a good way to think about it, Mr. Krabs, because I agree. Sometimes my brain can be mean to me sometimes, so it's good to know those kinds of things about yourself, and then also try to stay positive. Yeah, Mr. Krabs is a good dude. Or, yeah. Let's see here. Alright, so again, trying to look at these different relationships to things. like the elbow is just a little outside of that heel, and now the wrist is on this part of the knee, so it's going to stop right about here, and then you kind of get the fist here. All right. And then we can move on to this far side here. And this elbow, I'm looking at the relationship. Oh, you know what? One thing I'm noticing really fast is look at this angle and look at this one. Actually, it might not be too bad. I think it might be okay. So this, it just feels like this elbow is a bit low. So let me pull it up just a bit. That feels a little better. Mr. Krabs, don't know if you've joined our Discord, but if you want, please join the Discord. Hey, Chum Boy, how's it going, my friend? It's good to see you here. If one of you two, Pumpkin Pie or Chum Boy, if one of you could plop the Discord in the chat for Mr. Krabs, if he wants to join, that would be great. I'd appreciate that. I think it's in the description, but I might be wrong. Alright, again, looking at relationships, this elbow does go slightly outside of where this far knee is. So I want to make sure. You might be able to go onto our Discord and find like a thing to sit that says like share. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. Thank you. No. Come on, Bubba. Yeah, give me. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Max. Max. Stop. Sorry, guys. There's a person came to the door. I'm doing pretty well, Chum Boy. Alright, so the last piece here is going to be this wrist, which is about here. Chum Boy, how you been? No, I didn't need to go. I just needed to try to get my dog because he was being really mean and there was somebody dropping something off. Right in front of the door. Hate that. I have to go around. Sorry. It's fine. I couldn't find his little beaver thing. It's fine. Alright. So we're almost done here. Y'all got to see my wife walk through. Alright. And let's see. Just some small things. Like I just want to try to make sure I'm getting like the calf right. All right. The only other thing I'm seeing, should pop out more. Are you talking about the near shoulder or the far shoulder? I think that this one is okay-ish. There is a bit, I don't know how accurate and anatomically that is, but there is a little bit of the shoulder blade. I think you're right. It definitely needs to pop out a little bit more. And I think that, I'm looking at this correctly, I think that this far arm, I think that the arm needs to come in actually a little bit more. So I think it needs to be this angle. And thank you.
Welcome. Come on, Max. Come on.
42 minutes, nice. I know, it's pretty cool how much the channel has grown. I remember a lot of y'all were joining when I was at around like 300 subs, so it's been really cool to see. So I appreciate all of you. Appreciate the support. And sorry if my mood seems a bit low. I am tired today. We've been doing a project in our bathroom and it's wearing me out a little bit. I think that this is too let's see here maybe. And ooh, got a sub. Who was that? Let me see if I can pull up. Kaiser, welcome. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. But yeah, I'm like dead today. Like my like back kind of hurts a little bit and my hamstrings. It's been funny. Maybe I'll do like before and after pictures. If somebody reminds me, I'll post them on the Discord so you can see what we did. All right, I think I'm ready to try to see what this is looking like here. All right, I'm gonna take a guess. I don't know. I think that it's pretty decent. I'm sure that, let me see something here. I'm sure that some of these relationships that are more vertical, because that's typically where I struggle, I'm sure some of those are off a bit, but we'll see. So let me erase this. And yeah, I've been on for 5 years. Does that sound right? I think it might be even slightly longer, probably fastly approaching 6. Yeah, I appreciate that, Mr. Krabs. But I didn't really start growing until about like 2 years ago, 2 or 3. And when I started growing, it ended up being pretty like a lot of growth. So that was nice, but yeah. All right, so let's see what we got here. I think that the head might be slightly misplaced, but we'll zoom out a little bit. Take this and do what we did last time, put it over the top. Oh man, that's actually really good. I'm very happy with that. So the biggest errors here are just the arms are slightly off. I would say the far arm is too long, so that's something I'll definitely correct. And just the depth of the clavicle to the back, but this is pretty good. So what I meant by that is this depth here needs to be out here. This arm Actually, I'm not too worried about that. It just needs to be further out, but this one being too long is a bit of a problem. So we'll erase that away. Maybe to here. And all right, so let's check that out now. Much better. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. That's pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna actually stop there. So let's look. So we got 2 figure drawings in about what 40 something minutes today. I'll have to check in a sec. 45 minutes. I want to get that down. I'm hoping that within the next, like, I don't know, month of doing this every week, hopefully we can get maybe 4 figure drawings in 45 minutes. So get them to about 10 minutes each. I have the mannequin. It's just the observation skills, right? Like, I'm very happy with the mannequin that I have. I don't need to change it too much. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up there. I have to finish up my bathroom project. I will definitely post on Discord. So if you want to join the Discord, go to the link. Moderators, I appreciate both you, Chumboy and Pumpkin Pie, for joining today. Really appreciate you just being on here and helping me out. And Pumpkin Pie, you specifically for like carrying the chat like you always do. I really appreciate that. Have fun with your kittens once you get them. But I hope that y'all have a great rest of your week, or great week, I guess. Great rest of your weekend. And I'll be back probably either Wednesday or Sunday. I might try to do both. Yeah, I might try to do both, but we'll see. I hope that y'all, like I said, I've said it 1,000 times, but I really appreciate all of you, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next stream. Peace out. Oh, and Kaiser and Mr. Krabs, I appreciate you joining and subscribing. I really do. All right. See you later.